Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Money Chats with Shalise. I am your host, Shalise. Welcome to the podcast. I really do appreciate all of you guys being here. We are on episode 11. I have a really good topic for you today. Now, this will be a shorter podcast episode. I have to be out of the house or out of this within 15 minutes. So it's going to be a short and sweet one. But I think a really good topic. And if I don't get all of my thoughts out, I will do a part two. Also, make sure you follow me on my other social media platforms. Now, my aim is to post a podcast twice a week. Sometimes it'll be once a week because I am running my main channel and another channel and several things going through my website and just groups and things. So it can get a little busy. I'm a woman show. And I am in the process of trying to hire an assistant. So, yeah. So make sure you hit your bell notification so that you know whenever I post an episode. So today we're going to talk about how comparison robs you. We all have heard of the maxim, comparison is the thief of joy. I mean, if you find yourself comparing people, especially when it comes to finances, what it does is that it robs you of your potential. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way. Which, let me just back up a little bit. When you are trying to do better with your finances, whether it's saving, whether it's investing, whether it's trying to buy a house, whether you're trying to, get 1 month ahead or, whatever it is. As soon as you start looking for others, and you can start off on the right track and say, you know what, I'm looking towards others as motivation to stay accountable. But after a while, and this is me, telling the truth here from my own personal self, after a while, those thoughts will come up and you will start to, I would say, subconsciously comparing yourself. One of the ways that I really saw this happening was when I was trying to pay off as much debt as somebody else that I was watching. And I wasn't taking into account my own personal financial situation. I wasn't taking into account my own family dynamic. And this is not downing anyone else, but this person had no children. They were a single individual working, in the tech field. So for me, I already had a family at this time. I was drowning in debt. My situation was not like theirs. And again, I was like, okay, well, if they're making an extra $1,000 a month payment towards their credit card, then I need to be doing that. And if I'm not doing that, then that means I'm not working hard enough. I'm not sacrificing enough. I don't want it bad enough. When underneath, it was comparing apples to oranges. I was doing myself a disservice because our situations were so different. And instead of me just taking like the golden nuggets of they were, getting a side hustle and putting extra money towards their debt. And I could have took that golden nugget and say, you know what, Shalise, why don't you get a side hustle and whatever you make, put towards your debt versus trying to say, you know what, they paid $1,000, so I got to pay $1,000. And that may not have been in the budget, many of the times, because again, I had children. I started at 30. My daughter will be 17 in a few months. So, again, it's like, comparison, and you got to stop it when it happens. You got to be honest with yourself. So whenever I find it creeping in, and even now, and I'm being straight with you guys, even now, you think, I was thinking like before, a couple months ago, I was thinking, and I got to drink of water. Give me a second. I had to take a sip of water. And I was thinking, you know what, like, Shalise, you have to really back things up here. Like, you are trying to mimic literally what someone else is doing. And as a millionaire now, I was thinking, yeah, we achieved $1 million net worth. And guess what? That whole comparison crept in again. Well, this person has a $2 million net worth. Are you working as hard, Shalise? Are you grinding as hard? And I had to put the brakes and said, you know what? I'm not trying to be the top at everything. I'm not trying to be the one leading the charge with everything. That's a burden to carry. I want to make sure my husband and I and our family is safe and secured financially, and I want to live my life, right? Because you'll find yourself, you'll achieve your goal, and then you'll say, you know what, I'm going to push it off because I want to see how much more I can get. And I tell you guys, my husband and I have talked on several occasions about, do we want to push our retirement date back? maybe 48, 50, because we can get more. All the calculators say if you push your retirement back, your date back from 45, age of 45 to age 50, you guys could have triple what you are planning. And it's like, you know what? No, it's okay to say that's enough. That's no. And if someone else has higher net worth or have more, that's great for them. I'm like rooting for them. I'm proud of them. But at a certain point, I'm satisfied, right? And I think that's another way we can combat comparison is just being satisfied. Because at a certain point, let me tell you, the eye, and this is like for my biblical folks, the eye is never satisfied. If you don't figure out, you know what, I'm good at this point. This is my goal and I'm good. I don't want to keep extending it out more and more and more so that I can get more and more and more. I don't really necessarily want more. I just want to be able to have time and freedom without having to worry about money. So that's why we set that goal of a $3 million net worth and then a $5 million net worth for a stretch. But once we hit that, we're done. Like my husband is like, that's it. We're wrapping up. I'm wrapping up the 9 to 5 and I'm going to focus on, building up my own company, right? Because that is what freedom, that's what retirement means to us, is doing things on our own terms before we get too old where we just don't have the energy or the time to do it. But in our 40s and our 50s, that is the time where we can focus and dedicate on that. Another thing is that a lot of times comparison will creep in if we spend too much time consuming different outlets on social media. There have been times where and again, I wasn't looking at people with purses and shoes and cars and all that. I'm looking at, and this is I'm being straight with you guys, the downside. I'm constantly on CNBC. I'm constantly on YouTube. I'm constantly in forums. I'm constantly on financial blogs. And there's people there that have millions of dollar net worth at like 30, 25 years old. So the comparison will creep in. Well, Shalise, you're 38. Imagine what would have happened if you were 25 and you started. But I can't change the past. And none of us can. The best thing we can do is focus on here and now, learn from our mistakes, and move forward. And this is me talking to myself. So one of the things I do to keep myself in check is I limit how much I consume. As much as I love finance, as much as I adore learning about the economy and inflation and stocks and all of that, I have to limit myself. That's why I only post 3 videos a week. I could post every single day. I don't, because this is not my life. It's an important part of my life. It's a piece of my life, but it is not my life. It helps me to keep the comparison bug in check, unplugging, go outside. I mean, the weather has been beautiful. And being able to unplug and just go out and enjoy the weather and my family, take a staycation somewhere, go to the beach. That to me is like what I love. And so not being so tied to the internet is a great thing, because we don't realize if we keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, we're digesting. And again, it could be good stuff. But again, we're talking about comparison, because after a while, it'll creep in. You'll start to buy the same stock someone else is buying. You'll start to try to save the same amount of money someone else is saving. You're going to try to sound like other people, and you want to remain true to yourself. And that's something even in this personal finance space that I struggled with at first was, like maybe I should have like a cool catchphrase or a cool outro, or, stop saying because this person doesn't say but at the end of the day, I can only be me. And I think a lot of my subscribers appreciate that, because if you're like every other person, then why should I listen or follow you, right? I want to be the cucumber in the salad, right? I want to be the thing that sticks out, right? The thing that makes you want to, look for it and search for it and all of that. But yeah, and this is something, I try to teach my kids, and more so my daughter, because she's older now. In terms of it's good to just be you. Take the golden nuggets of what anyone is saying and ask yourself, does this apply to me? And if so, how can I make this work within my personal situation and my personal budget? Because you can't be like someone else, right? You're going to run yourself ragged trying to mimic and copy and be like someone else. You have to be your own self, especially in finance and money. And this is family too. If you see a relative that just bought a new car and you're still driving the same clunker. And you could feel like, you know what, I feel less than. No. Just because somebody has more investments, more of an emergency fund, or they pay debt off faster, maybe they have a spouse, that doesn't make them better than you. Their situation is just different. And so, you want to compare yourself. If you compare yourself to anything, compare yourself to your old self. How were you last year? Are you any better than yourself from last year? That is what you should be comparing yourself to, not so much, um, someone else. If you're going to compare yourself to your old self. You should be doing better than your old self, because we don't get time back, right? And we want to make sure that we take advantage of the opportunities we have now, to move ahead in the future. There's things we all want. There's things that we all want to achieve. And I'm not just talking about just to survive. If we're being honest here, there are things deep down that we want to do in this life, places we want to go, things we want to do for our children and our grandchildren that require money. And so the best thing we can do is, instead of spending time trying to emulate someone else, is to take what they say and apply it to you. If you need more income, you don't have to go into the tech field like someone else. Try to find another avenue, like a side hustle, or switch career field, so that you can get more income. And then you can apply that income to whatever goals that you personally may have. I'm telling you guys. And also just finding someone to help you stay accountable, right? I'm talking about like a buddy. A lot of people who are married have this option available because you have a spouse there. Now, I know sometimes when you're married, the spouse is not on the same page, but my husband and I keep each other accountable so that we're not comparing ourselves to anybody on the outside of our marriage. And this is just not finance only. This is anything across the whole relationship spectrum. But when it comes to money, we are each other's accountability partners, each other's shield from, envy, and jealousy and all of that, because those feelings will come up, especially with money. If you work with a coworker who just, bought a big, beautiful house and you don't have it, that's where comparison can come in at. And it'll make you feel depressed and sad and less than, when that's not the case at all. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share. I may do a part 2 because I don't feel like I got all of everything I wanted to get out, but I do have to get going. But let me know what you think. Have you struggled with comparison before? Do you feel like, you know what, I'm doing things, I'm buying things, I'm saying things to try to be like someone else, and I'm losing myself in the process? I'm losing who I want to be. So let me know down below how you guys feel about that. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast channel if you haven't. Check out my other podcast if you are new. This is episode 11. So we have 11 episodes so far. So I'm trying to get them out at least once a week. So make sure you hit your bell notification and follow me on my other platforms and on Instagram as well. So again, I enjoyed talking with you guys. And until next time, I'll see y'all in the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye for now.